Hey, mighty men of God, Joe Martin here with Real Men Connect, where we help good men become great men God's way by providing them with real answers to real problems in the real world. As you can see, we're not at the Real Men Ride Along. We're actually in my office. Excuse the mess behind me. I'm going to get to that later. But I wanted to shoot a quick video because I want this lesson to be about swimming. Now, let me explain what I mean by swimming. How are you going to do something about swimming on a video? Well, it's not the swimming that you're thinking about, but it does involve the elements and components of swimming. Now, I want to talk to you about what I consider the four main swimming strokes. Try to say that 5 times fast. 4 main swimming strokes that I believe every man, every godly man must learn. Now, the reason why I use swimming as the analogy and the metaphor, because I truly believe that God has called us as men to be spiritual lifeguards for our family. Spiritual lifeguards. Now, I want you to get in your mindset and picture in your mind what the purpose of a lifeguard is. A lifeguard is given a job, a responsibility to protect and to watch over the people that's been entrusted to him or to her. But in this particular case, we're talking about males and we're talking about men, and the job that God has given us from the beginning of time, which was to be the spiritual head and leader of our household. And so I like to call that being a spiritual lifeguard. God gives us a position to man, a post to man, a job to do, and people to lead, and so and also to love. And so now also if a lifeguard is doing their job properly, not only does he keep the people safe around him, what he also does is creates an environment that everyone in that environment feels safe. So think about it, if you can picture that lifeguard being sitting on that high chair, watching and observing things, looking for danger, and at a moment's notice he must respond and react in a way that's courageous, decisive, and also he must anticipate what to do and know what to do in case of an emergency, even preventing an emergency. So you got to get the picture. Now around this, before I get to the 4 strokes, here's the problem that we have as men though. And this is the challenge that we have as Real Men Connect and why I decided to go into ministry full time. The problem is that yes, we have been called to be spiritual lifeguards. That's what God has called us to do since the beginning of Adam. But however, the problem is most men don't know how to swim. Most men don't know how to swim. And the reason why we don't know how to swim, because we didn't have spiritual lifeguards to teach us how to swim. So you have a lot of boys and a lot of girls growing up in homes where the spiritual lifeguard is not on his post. He's not doing his job. And as a result, you see some of the things that we're facing with society. So when I mentioned Real Men Connect, what I like to believe that Real Men Connect was built to give men spiritual swimming lessons, to provide them with resources and access to more experienced lifeguards who can teach them how to swim. But the problem is we're unable sometimes to humble ourselves enough to admit that we need those lessons. And that results sometimes in anger, in being ashamed, being embarrassed, being arrogant, saying that we can do it by ourselves, and we can't. So anyway, I want to cover with you four basic lessons, what I call spiritual swimming lessons that every man must master. And I want you to hear me out. Here's the first one that every man, every godly man must master as a spiritual lifeguard. And that's the breaststroke. Knew that would get your attention, the breaststroke. Now, when you hear the word breaststroke, you think of usually women. And that's exactly what I'm referring to. God has called us to master the breaststroke and learn the breaststroke of how to master and win the heart of our wives. To master and win the hearts of our wives. The Bible tells us that we too must understand, we as husbands must understand and learn the hearts of our wives and master the hearts of our wives and treat them as the lesser vessel, which since they are women, and to give honor to them, so that our prayers would not be hindered. Now, we're not talking about ruling and dominating over women, but to win their heart and to know their heart. And the only way you can do that is learning and mastering the heart of your wife. It's not enough just to love her, but you must master her heart. Now, here's the second stroke that we have to learn. And I call it the freestyle stroke. And you've heard of the freestyle stroke. Now, normally when you hear the word freestyle, you think rapping or people who are doing spoken word and they do it off the top of their head without even being rehearsed. It's their way of communicating and they do it logically. Now, I refer to freestyle as mastering the heart of your children. Learning how to freely communicate in them in a way that connects your heart to their heart. Learning their insecurities, their fears, their doubts, and training them up the way they were supposed to be as Christian children. And we know the scripture tells us that we should train up a child in the way they should go so they don't soon depart from it. So we must learn to freestyle stroke in communicating with our children. Now the third stroke, and listen to this, the third stroke is the backstroke. The backstroke. Now what I mean by the backstroke is that we have to, as men, we have to come to grips with our past of things behind us. Now, not to use it as an excuse, but to learn from it so we don't repeat the mistakes of the past. That means that's understanding some of our struggles and our hurts and the wounds that were caused maybe by our spiritual father or our fathers who were supposed to be the spiritual lifeguards for us, or some other people in our lives that abused us, maybe rejected us, abandoned us. You kind of get the picture. And so we need to go back and look at where we came from so we can learn from the past and not repeat it. And last but certainly not least, the fourth stroke that we must learn to master as men is the butterfly stroke. The butterfly stroke. Now, when I mention the butterfly stroke, I'm talking about knowing your purpose and your passion in life as a man. Now, what does that have to do with butterflies? Well, I keep thinking of the caterpillar as they turn into a butterfly. In other words, the caterpillar started as a caterpillar, but that wasn't its purpose. Eventually, it was supposed to grow and blossom into a beautiful butterfly. And I think that we were not meant to be crawling. We were meant to soar and to fly. And the only way you can do that is if you get your life on purpose, understanding your God-given gifts so you can use it to achieve God-given goals. Then we teach others how to fly as well. Now, when we talk about swimming lessons, a lot of us don't know how to spiritually lead our families, to love our wives, to discipline and disciple our children, to lead others to their purpose and their higher calling. But we need to get those spiritual lessons anyway. We need to master those four strokes. So guys, I hope that this bless you. And if you are in need of a spiritual lifeguard, that's why we created realmenconnect.com, to give you the spiritual lessons that you need so you can teach others how to do the same. And if this video has blessed you, please share with other men who may be going through similar swimming struggles. Let them know about this, because you know, guys, as we always say, that we're males by birth, but we are men by choice. So choose to be the man God called and created you to be, because a male is a terrible thing to waste. So until next time, stay blessed, stay strong, and as always, stay in God's grip.